Why haven't you learned anything?
The Black Agenda and how to achieve it. Thank you for joining us. We're going to get right into it. Let us break down the Black Agenda, what it looks like, and how to implement it. For those wondering what a Black Agenda is, it's very simple. It is the political and economic empowerment of the Black community. It is taking control of the politicians and economy in our community. This concept is not new and has been executed by Blacks in North America as far back as the late 1800s. The Black Wall Streets are perfect examples. First, we have to understand what politics is and what it's supposed to produce. Forget what you heard about politics. Politics is simply the allocation of resources. That's it. The allocation of resources. Now, a politician is the person who allocates those resources. They decide who gets what. Since politicians have the power to allocate the resources you need, it is imperative to have as much influence and control over these people as possible. Not having control over your politicians is detrimental to our communities, as it allows politicians to skip over our community when it comes time to allocate those resources. Now, let's take some quick examples of what a Black agenda can look like. Then, we will break down a step-by-step guide on how to get it. First, we can look at Memphis, Tennessee. The local government there is attempting to implement what they call the 3.0 plan. It's a plan to gentrify the predominantly Black community by dumping hundreds of millions on expensive high-rise infrastructure spending. If the Black community owned and controlled the politicians in that community, they could have used this to their advantage. They could force the politicians to ensure that a certain amount of the subcontracts go to Black-owned and operated construction companies. That way, community members would not only have jobs, but that could be the cornerstone of a future Black merchant class. Another example is Halifax, Nova Scotia, a place populated by foundational Black Canadians. Irving Shipbuilding won the 25-year, $30 billion government contract to build Navy ships. They made their factory right beside a Black community, but not one Black person was hired from the community. If the community controlled the politicians who advocated for the shipbuilder to get the contract, they could have told the politicians to mandate that a certain number of Black workers must be hired. But instead, our community has gotten into the bad habit of hustling backwards. We vote for politicians that we have not already vetted to make decisions for us. Then, we go to them and beg for crumbs that have fallen off the plate of the dominant society. This is what Dr. Claude Anderson calls the doctrine of unequal exchange. Let's change that. We will now give you the 10 steps on how to control the politicians in your community and have our agenda at the forefront. So step 1, get a group of community members and create an agenda that suits the brothers and sisters in your area. Remember, agendas are economical. The social aspect will come once you control the economics. Then, identify a politician that you would like to back. Give them your agenda and make sure they agree. If they don't, find another politician or pick one yourself and put them forth. It doesn't matter the political party, as they will be owned and controlled by you. Just make sure they are fully vetted and dedicated to getting what you want. Step 2, start fundraising. Most elections don't cost much, especially if the community pools their money together. The entire city council of Ferguson, Missouri would have cost no more than $10,000. Yes, this is the same city as our fallen brother, Michael Brown. To fundraise, here's what you do. Establish what you would need to win the election. To do this, research how much money was spent by the last winner in your riding or district. This information is public and available online. Whatever that number is, simply add 10 to 20% extra to ensure your candidate's victory. Go to those in your community that genuinely want to see change and ask them to give into the pot. Their money will go to good use, and they will receive some of that money back when filing their taxes. Though it differs from state to state, province to province, the general range in the U.S. is you'll receive 40% back come tax time. In Canada, you'll receive 75% back if you donate under $400 and 50% back over $400. Check with your local government for exact numbers. After you rally the rank and file, now it's time to visit the merchant class, which are Black business owners. See what they would like to have on the agenda and get their contributions. Believe it or not, business owners will be the most enthusiastic about giving money. More than any other group, business owners know the value of having a politician in their pocket. Just make sure what they want aligns with the Black agenda. Think of other cheap events you can hold to raise funds for your candidate. Step 3. Present your candidate. After you have fundraised, it is now time to present your candidate to the public. Have an artist in your community create flyers and have local youth post them in your district. Hold a public debate, inviting all the candidates running for office. Flood the crowd with supporters to give them the home field advantage. Purchase local radio spots, or better yet, have a local DJ invite them for on-air interviews. Create a street team that on weekends go door to door and hand out flyers. Have community members post your candidate's logo on all their social media platforms. Rent out a space to have meet and greet parties. Charge a small entrance fee and charge for food and drinks. Hold cookouts with your candidate and have them make a speech at the gathering. Take pictures and post them on your social media. Step 4. Vote. Have a selected group of people help the broader community get registered to vote long before Election Day. Encourage those that you get registered to do advanced polling. This will help to ease the lines on the actual voting day. On Election Day, have those in the community that drive set up a pickup and drop-off service for those who can't make it to the polls on their own. Step 5. Celebrate. Your candidate won. Now, we'll explain how to keep your hand-picked politician in your pocket. Step 6. Schedule community meetings with your candidate at least every 2 months so they can update you on their progress on implementing your agenda. Ask to meet the leader of their party, either in person or a scheduled call at least one an election cycle, so they understand that you helped put that politician in office and their job is to implement your agenda. Have your candidate put forth private members' bills that are your agenda, but are Hail Marys. This is done knowing your bill will not pass, but it will put it out there and it will be on the books for future elections. Step 7. Continue to fundraise for your candidate even though they're already elected. Having a large political war chest is so underrated. Step 8. Keep up to date. Watch government tender contracts. Read the paper, watch the news, etc. to know what resources the government is rolling out. Make sure your candidate is lobbying for your community to get a piece. Step 9. When re-election time rolls around, repeat the steps to ensure victory. Step 10. If your politician gets out of pocket, back another candidate or put forth your own. Repeat the steps and punish your old candidate by making them a one-term wonder. The new candidate will definitely get the point, as they know the community means business. That's it. Simple. What the Black Agenda is and 10 simple steps to have it implemented. If you show up to the polls on Election Day and the ballot doesn't have a candidate that is vetted by you, then you already lost, no matter whom you vote for. Thank you for listening to Part 1. In Part 2, we will break down candidates that pretend to have a Black agenda and how to spot them. And we'll answer the question how you can implement a Black agenda even if you are only a small segment of the population. I'm Aaliyah Williams, reporter and audiovisual director for the Objective News Agency, an outpost for intelligent Black society. If you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so now and hit the little bell to be notified for our next video report. At The Objective, we have a team of reporters, investigative journalists, researchers, and editorial cartoonists. Stay up to date following us on social media at The Objective NS on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.